Indianapolis Raceway Park, affectionately known as IRP, was a mainstay on NASCAR Xfinity and Craftsman truck schedules of old, but it took a long hiatus away from NASCAR calendars through the mid-2000s. Back on the truck schedule and on this season's BRB Buttkicker Cup schedule, however, IRP is a make-it-or-break-it kind of racetrack. You either have it or you don't, and you'll either be in or you'll be out of the chase when the night is done. This is the next to final opportunity to lock into this season's championship format. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and the virtual Indianapolis, Indiana. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. I've got Zach Burtis alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you for coverage of the BRB Buttkicker Cup Series. Tonight's coverage from IRP is brought to you by the Buttkicker, by Idealise, Ascendance Trucking, Sundance Pizza, and Whiplash Sim Cams. From one racing city to the next, Daytona to Indianapolis, we're ready to go racing here, Zach. This is a special place. Used to be on the calendar a lot for the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series yearly for a while there, and it just kind of fell off in the mid-2000s. It's back, though, on truck schedules, and boy, is it good to see racing at IRP, especially here on the iRacing.com sim. This is going to be a fun night.
Yeah, this track is starting to become a real fan favorite with the fans. It's got a lot of different characteristics of a short track that don't necessarily make you think it's a short track. The high groove right up against the wall is the best place to run. Can we say this track has progressive banking? Because that's what I kind of feel like it has. It's flat on the bottom and it's banked on the top. It's not something you see on a flat oval, and it's got some characteristics that make it similar to tracks like North Wilkesboro. You know, the pit road wraps around towards the back straightaway like it does now at the newly reconfigured North Wilkesboro. And I'm going to go off of a limb, and I'm going to say IRP is a true oval, even if it has a couple different characteristics, because as you can see on the track layout, it's a true oval. It looks like an oval. It acts like an oval. It's all for intents and purposes that is an oval. But progressive banking is going to be the game changer here. Top line's going to be the rolling part of the racetrack. Bottom line's going to be where you're going to see all the slide jobs. We're going to be in for one heck of a race tonight.
And until we had a wall ride practice lap, Johnny Wood Jr. was the fastest at a 21.869. Unfortunate to see that we were doing some wall riding in practice, but Johnny Wood Jr. with a very fast lap, just a tick faster than Scott Fritz and Nicholas Renner. Some really good lap times being set, a little bit faster than the 1998 Busch Series, but you can go back and watch that race on the NASCAR YouTube channel. I was doing that this week, getting some inspiration for this event. So it was cool to go back and take that time capsule back in time. But let's take a look at the point standings coming into this evening. This is how things sit for the chase. Mason Houseman on top. He is locked in. Johnny Wood Jr., Stephen Borbell, they're locked in. I believe Isaiah Sutherland is also locked in. Dustin Stallings on down. They're trying to lock in this evening, and a lot of these guys can do so tonight, Zach. It doesn't take a whole lot at this point in time for them to lock in. I think realistically after tonight and going into Michigan, everybody from probably Jared Hughes on up will be locked in. It's iffy on Wolsifer and Catania, and Dakota Camper is even pretty close to a 27-point gap after that win at Daytona a week ago.
Yeah, that win last week really helped him out, and we were all over the place, or at least I was, trying to figure out the points, because you wanted Camper to get up there. You said Zachary King was doing everything right, and then, well, it all just kind of fell apart at the end, and it worked out in Dakota Camper's favor. So as long as he can keep that momentum rolling here tonight and going into next week, I think he'll be sure in for the chase run. But we've got two stages that these drivers that are a little bit further down can earn some stage points, and I think those first four drivers that are out, even Zachary Brandfold and Carl Pooler, I think both of them still, if they get the stage points, got a decent shot to lock themselves in. Or get up there going into next week.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who's in and who's out after tonight. We'll try and keep up with these points as best as we can. For Scott Fritz and Zach King, it's go time. Jamie Pord, Evan Patinko, Carl Pooler, they need a win. And even that win won't lock them in. That's the crazy part of this, is we're going to have, I think, at least one, maybe two winners who miss the playoffs, the chase this season. I don't know that Zachary King makes it in right now. I'm going to be honest. I don't know that these two tracks suit him. He's a drafting track kind of guy, so maybe Michigan works out for him, but we'll find out these next couple of weeks here as the season comes to a close. You see qualifying times rolling in on the top of the screen. So let's get down to the track and take a look at qualifying. There you see it. We are in full darkness, full nighttime here at IRP, and Johnny Wood Jr. is straight to the top of the board.
Hey, you know what they say, the nighttime is the right time, and these guys are showing as Nicholas Renner goes to the top of the board. He's got the Marlboro scheme back on the race car. Johnny Wood Jr. takes that time back away. We just had our eyes on him. Here he is again, rolling around. You got Jared Hughes. I saw this paint scheme, Andrew, when we loaded in for practice. He's been sporting the Pit Stop TV colors, but this is a different approach, and I think it's really cool.
It is a very nice looking paint scheme. Zach King unfortunately has problems in qualifying. He will not get a lap in. Here's Adam Buzzio to the stripe. Zachary Brandvold goes fastest at a 22.110. It's going to be a 22.209 for Buzzio, just about a tenth off. He goes fourth quick so far. Now Mason Houseman on the racetrack. This is a driver we've got to watch. He was down there a little bit in practice, but he could do anything here in qualifying.
Picking the timer for his first lap, I believe, here. See the time pop up in the bottom right hand of your screen. That's what I'm talking about, Andrew. These guys are going to be running middle to high line. This is where the runs are going to be. This is where the speed is going to be. Way up to the wall, you can just throw it into the corner, drift it in, and almost even diamond this corner. And it really works well for these guys. As Mason Houseman crosses the line, he's going to show up a 22.41. That's not even going to put him inside the top 10 here.
12th quick on lap 1. A couple other drivers finishing up their laps includes Evan Patenko. You've got Scott Fritz on the racetrack. Jason Bottoms just wrapped up, but let's take a look at Houseman to the stripe, running way low in 3 and 4 to the stripe here. It's going to be a 22.15.
Hello.
Whoa, that picks up big time. Third quick right behind Isaiah Sutherland. That's a solid lap time from somebody who struggled a little bit in practice.
Trey Walker next on the racetrack. He's running a bit more on the higher side. Comes across the line here. That's going to be a 22.41 as well. Going to slot him a little bit further down the running order. Nowhere inside the top 10. You got to be running low 20s to be cracking even the top 6.
Ray Walker here, lap number 2 to the stripe. A little bit low there. Might have got the wall off of turn 4. It'll be a 22.293 if it counts, and it does. That's good for 12th quick, as now Robert Moyer will load into the car and look at the opportunity to turn a lap time. New paint scheme for him. He's running a Christopher Bell type car, so a little bit different for driver 16. I believe that's Christopher Bell's new Mobile 1 paint scheme for 2025.
Can't say I'm a fan of the white wheels. Love the scheme. White wheels, I don't know, Andrew. I just feel like they don't necessarily blend with the paint scheme too well. And if they are going to be on the car, then I think the surrounding portion of the tire has to be black. Just for contrast, if you know what I mean.
I don't mind it. I think white rims can work, and especially with a mostly white paint scheme, with kind of satin material, and I think it works, but Robert Moyer Jr. going to begin his qualifying laps here. Was decently quick in practice, a top 10 lap time for a long time there, so we'll see what he's got in qualifying.
He's throwing away his first lap.
Running down low, yeah.
He's scrubbing the tires then, too. Top line to bottom, all the way down.
This is the only lap he's going to get. It's going to be a slide, and it's going to be a bad lap time.
That's going to compromise his whole run back here to the line. He's not even rolling that fast past the checkered flag. I wonder if he's just kind of throwing it away to start in the back. Well, he's not going to get a chance to get another lap in.
Yeah, I think that was just an attempt to start from the rear of the field, and it's going to work. He'll start from 25th spot this evening. Let's take a look at the schedule for this season. We check in tonight for race number 12. Next up, race 13 at Michigan. That will be the decider for the chase field to either lock drivers in or send them packing for this championship format. Let's get down to the Lucky Performance starting grid. On pole, how about this guy? Zachary Brandvold in car 55 will start this race from pole position. That's a pretty solid qualifying run there, beating out the three top drivers, I would say, that are all right behind him. Isaiah Sutherland, Mason Houseman, and Johnny Wood Jr. all starting on his coattails. The big three of the BRB Racing League this season will start right behind car 55. Starting fifth, it'll be car number 5, Adam Buzzio. Just got home from Daytona. I'm glad he and Julie made it back in time, because for a while it was looking like maybe it'd be a little bit close. But thankfully, the Buzzios got back from Daytona just in the nick of time, and he will be able to start this evening's race from the top 5. Nicholas Renner will grid up in 6th. Dakota Camper, last week's Daytona winner, from 7th. Jared Hughes from 8th. And to complete your top 10, Scott Fritz and Matthew Catania, a couple of teammates there.
11th on down, you'll find Brendan Maddox, who actually has Zachary Maddox on the spotter stand for him tonight, with Gray Walker 2 is outside, so we won't see the 14 car on the racetrack tonight. 13th and 14th, you'll find Richard Wolsifer and Dustin Stallings, a couple of drivers in the BRB bonus brawl, taking a look at that as the race goes on. 15th and 16th, you'll find Evan Patinko and Stephen Borbell. They put in some solid qualifying laps to see what they can do tonight. And then 17th and 18th on the grid, right behind them, you'll find Josh Anderson and Cody Dorsey. Josh Anderson turned a bit of a wall ride lap in practice, and he's going to be starting 17th after his qualifying performance. 19th and 20th, though, you'll find Carl Pooler and Jason Bottoms. I know Carl Pooler's looking for a good night to get into the chase.
Starting 21st, Eric Jensen there in the 99 car starts alongside of Cole Lewis back in row number 11. Row 12 brings us Dakota Bly and Braxton Skinner. Finally, in 25th, it's Robert Moyer Jr. That's the final car that turned a qualifying lap. He'll start next to Sam Dyer and in front of Zachary King and Cole Younger. We can take a look at this evening's Whiplash SimCam's race details. It's a 200-lap race. 50 laps in stage 1, 50 laps in stage 2, and 100 in stage number 3. 5 change sets, 80% fuel load, fixed setups, no fast repair, and 3 green-white checkers are available. This is the first short track race for the series since moving to no fast repairs, and boy, is it going to be a doozy.
Oh, I'm sure it will. We've still got a couple of throwback schemes in this race, Andrew. We've got a lot of drivers that are looking to make sure they don't exactly have terrible nights. I know Isaiah Sutherland's probably happy to start up there because he wants to keep having races where he ends up finishing. And, you know, we still got the 2 big things that we've been doing here at Pit Stop TV lately. Keep an eye out for your lucky performance, lucky break of the day, and keep an eye on these drivers that are running up here, Andrew, because we got a driver of the day to vote for.
We'll talk about each of those later on, but for now, all eyes are on the green flag in Barney the Flagman's hands, waiting for it here at a turn number 4 into the Geico restart zone. It's late here on the front stretch, but there it is. Green flag flies. We're racing from IRP. Caution, lap 1. It's a topside racetrack, and Sutherland gets the break there on the start, but it's going to be
Brendan
problems
Maddox
in the back. Cars are stopped. Maddox in the wall. Carl Pooler's around. Problems in the back.
I'm sure Brendan Maddox is not the happiest person in the world right now. Not exactly hearing great things over the radio. Going into the corner, he just broke loose right there. Did he make contact with Scott Fritt?
No, he didn't break loose. No, I saw a little bit of that building, and we'll look back on it here. This is the very start of the race.
Bumper tag?
He's okay there, but then gets hit into the corner by Richard Wolsifer. And that puts Gray Walker in the wall as well, but Richard Wolsifer just straight up ran in the back of the 8 car.
Carl Pooler, a separate incident right there. Still included in what's going on, but he got spun separately from those 2 drivers in front of him. A look back from the turn 3 cam. Yeah, there's the tap. You see it. He gets loose after the tap and then goes around. And Carl Pooler was just trying to miss it, and he made some contact with Cody Dorsey, who was also coming down to miss it, and he ended up spinning around because of it.
Watch here for the 71 of Pooler. Riding on his own there. checks up, goes low, and never even got into Dorsey. The car just got loose when he pulled it left.
I guess from the angle, it just looked like they made contact.
This independent rear suspension, it does not like this racetrack.
Oh my goodness. So we can confirm that Richard Wolsifer will get the pass-through penalty for causing the incident. So not a way you want to start the night, especially when you're involved in the BRB bonus brawl, Andrew. There's so much going on. I know Wolsifer is up there in the points, so he's not exactly concerned about his championship being in question, but not exactly the way you want to start a race.
Yeah, so for that bonus brawl, Stephen Borbell comes in with a 6-point lead. He's got 18 bonus brawl points. Carl Pooler has 12. Jared Hughes has 11. Then Dustin Stallings and Scott Fritz are tied with 10. Isaiah Sutherland, Adam Buzzio, and Brendan Maddox are tied with 9. You'll see the shoes there will put Sutherland back on the top side of the racetrack. Brandvold goes low. Hausman goes high. Wood goes low. But it's very much Stephen Borbell's bonus brawl to lose. All he has to do is grab a couple of points, and he very well should lock things up in that bonus brawl. But you never know. Carl Pooler, Jared Hughes, they could do something. They could get a bunch of points and change things up. For now, though, it looks like an Isaiah Sutherland kind of restart coming to you. This will be the first restart of the night. We're looking for the Geico restart zone here. And there it is. Green flag back in the air. We are racing once again in Indianapolis. One green flag lap finally complete. Sutherland the fastest. You see the pass through there in the background for Wolsifer. The battle is on for third, fourth on back.
You got Renner on the inside of Buzzio. Right behind them, Dakota Camper. And caution is out on the speedway again. We've got more wrecking in turn 3. I think that was Jared Hughes around back there. Nope, that is Josh Anderson. Wrong way around on the racetrack. No damage on that 07 Meatball Motorsports Ford. So, it's going to keep on rolling. Just looped it.
Stood on the gas once it came around and let it spin to a stop.
Better than overcorrecting and turning right up the racetrack.
I give you that, Zach. It is definitely better than overcorrecting into the field, so we'll take it there. But a slow start to this evening's race. I want to give a thank you to all of the partners with the BRB Racing League, the Buttkicker, Ascendance Trucks, Ideal East, and Sundance Pizza. Now, when the NASCAR Xfinity Series came here in 1998, that race I was talking about on YouTube, on the NASCAR YouTube channel, they went, I want to say, about a half the race green flag. They went for a while from the green, but then things got a little bit chaotic. In this case, things are starting a little bit chaotic. Do we see these guys settle in at some point and get those green flag laps in later? I mean, that's the hope, of course.
I invoke the 5th. It all remains to be seen, Andrew. They got a bit of a custom setup in for this race. You know, they usually run fixed setups. So they ended up building their own setup for this race that all the drivers have to use. And, you know, you were talking about it a little bit before we went live here, that it's a bit on the looser side, you know, and this track can already be really, really slick. If you slide that car in there way too hard and chase it up the banking, it can go around on you, kind of like how we saw Josh Anderson just happen to him. But when you mix that with a looser setup on these cars, it really takes some finesse to make sure you're not just looping this thing every time you drive it in on entry, especially for these guys that are a lot more on the aggressive side. You know, it could be their undoing. It could teach them a little bit, but it also could end up causing them to, you know, end their race early.
This is a challenging racetrack for this race car for sure. It's a very challenging combo. Give you a lot of fun to watch these guys wrestle with it as the night goes on. Into the Geico restart zone for the second time now. Restart on the way, and we are green flag racing from IRP. Johnny Wood Jr. getting held up a little bit. Mason Houseman on his outside. They will battle off into turn number 1.
See Johnny Wood Jr. holding it down there. He's gonna get clear of that 78, and that's gonna leave Renner to challenge Mason Houseman going into turn number 3. They'll stay side by side. Looks like that bottom is starting to roll, Andrew, because Renner gets a good rotation through the center. He'll have the nose in front of Houseman at the start-finish line. Then going into turn number 1, he's going to throw it in there once more. Buzzio smacks the wall behind, but they'll stay single file now as Renner clears the 78 of Houseman, who's dropping a little bit further back down the running order.
Scott Fritz, Jared Hughes do battle. And you know what? I'll be honest, I took a couple of laps, a couple of races with AI here, and as Renner gets out of shape, he falls back to this inside here of Houseman. I found a lot of grip in the middle lane of the racetrack, and I was able to make some passes on the AI through the middle of the track as opposed to the top of the track, but you can defend so well up top. It's really difficult to actually make passes down there because the top is just so good on defense, but if you can get it done, if you can hit it just right, it does rip, and you can make some moves at the very least. Whether or not the pass will be complete is another story.
Everything falling into place, and I do want to make a note here as we see Josh Anderson going a lap down after taking his pass-through penalty. Zachary Brandvold usually hangs around the outskirts of the top 10 and a little bit further down into the teens and maybe into the 20s sometimes, but he is showing up and showing out tonight. He is really trying to make his run into the chase, and he's showing exactly what he needs to do to make it happen. Running in the second spot. He was in the lead for a brief portion of time, Andrew, but, you know, this is a run we don't usually see out of Brandvold. He's really making an effort to get his points total up and moving.
Well, this is what it's going to take. You've got to be there tonight. You've simply got to rise to the occasion, as I say, and grab the bull by the horns. You've just got to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The points gap being what it is for so many drivers trying to make their way in. You've simply got to get up there and try and win this race and at least get close. If you don't win, you got to be second or third, I feel like, tonight to get that massive points on whoever you're chasing. So this is exactly what Brandvold needs. He's looking good so far, but we are only about 20 laps in.
Single file for the most part throughout the field. Well, as I say, that caution is out on the speedway.
Braxton Skinner around in the 33 car.
That's the teammate of Zachary Brandvold.
It is one of the Accelerate Racing teammates of Brandvold. Skinner here in the 33 car just gets loose and tries chasing it down. Comes to a spin.
Surprised that brought out the caution. That was a very slow spin out of the 33. And it looks like Race Control is actually going to say here that they're not giving a penalty to the 33. He stopped down on the bottom of the racetrack. That's what brought the yellow out. Yeah, they're going to roll with it. They're not going to give him a pass through here.
I gotta listen to that one more time. Watch that back one more time. Did he downshift there, or was he already in fourth gear?
Looks like he was already in.
I'm trying to figure out why he spun. Stays in fourth. He probably just stabbed the brake one too many times, and then the nose came around, and
he could have hit the seam too.
Well, it seemed like a weight transfer, but maybe I'm wrong. Regardless, he goes for a bit of a spin and will bring out the caution. He's in the pit lane along with Robert Moyer Jr. and Richard Wolsifer. Now, this stage is only 50 laps. We've already run about 25 nearly. As Wolsifer is going to go nearly a lap down, it's going to be close for him. He's trying to get that damage repaired from the crash with Carl Pooler. And he will just make it back out of there in time to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, Brendan Maddox still on the racetrack, actually, after the incident they had together. So he's been able to roll. I mean, not a lot of damage on that race car. Take a look at that rear end. It looks really square. So Richard Wolsifer getting the brunt of that impact when they had the first caution of the night.
And the Jason Bottoms fan club in the chat wondering about the setup, and you know, I believe for the most part they use the default iRacing setup for everywhere that has one, but IRP isn't on the Cup schedule and it isn't on the A-Class schedule, meaning since this car doesn't go here in any iRacing official capacity, they had to have a setup built for this racetrack, just like the Red Bull Ring, another track where the iRacing A-Class Cup cars do not go to officially. So this was an oddity compared to the rest of the schedule. You've just got to have a setup built, and that's what they're working with this evening. I tested it. It's a pretty solid setup, all things considered. For what these guys are trying to do with it, I feel like it was pretty middle of the road. That said, it is still pretty free for the next-gen car. It's a difficult car on a difficult racetrack, and these guys are showing that this evening with a couple of self-spins early. Here we go. Geico restart zone coming up. Green flag on the way, and we are back racing in IRP. Big hit to the wall there for Johnny Wood Jr.
Looks like Brandvold was just getting clear, and I think Johnny wanted to stay with it. Almost 3 wide back there as we sort through the field. Halfway, next time by through the stage, Adam Buzzio has tapped the wall a few times throughout the course of this race so far. We're going to see a lot of that tonight. A lot of guys tapping the wall on corner exit, a lot of them tapping the wall in the center of the corner. One of those racetracks that if you don't send it in just right, you're gonna end up hitting the wall, and he's doing his best job to hold off Dakota Camper. These guys are all racing just inside the top 10. Up front though, Mason Houseman, Nicholas Renner duking it out again.
And Renner will fall in behind. This is a career kind of day for that 11 car today. 5th place right now, stayed in the top 5 so far all race long. Granted, it's still very early, but here comes that 3 car, Dakota Camper. He wants to make the chase and do so resoundingly. I know that win last week might seem like luck, but it took some skill at the end, although he's going to get into Renner and spin. The 11 car. Caution is out. Oh, you couldn't ride it up any worse.
Perfect 360 for Nicholas Renner. No damage, didn't hit the wall. He'll keep rolling, but I'm sure Dakota Camper is more than likely gonna get the penalty here, get a drive-through. Oh my goodness.
Here's the onboard. That might come back on Renner. He came down the racetrack to get a diamond exit.
Can confirm, race control, putting it on the 11 car.
We'll watch it one more time here and slow it down for you. Watch the 11 go way up in the center, just about get the outside wall, turn down the hill, and follow Houseman. And they were just enough alongside for the 11 to get a tap. And that sent the 11 car for a wild spin there on the inside of turn number 2. That brings out this 4th caution on the evening. That's one of those cases where I know the rule is the rule, but I question if they really need to pass through because he's already penalized himself. He's going to go to the rear of the field out of this, all by just cutting down the racetrack ever so slightly and making some racing deal contact. But the rule is the rule. You cause a caution, you go to the rear, and you get a wave by. Or not a wave by, a penalty. A wave in, if you will. A wave into the pit lane for a pass-through. Well, Zach, I think that's an early contender for something we've been talking about lately. The lucky performance, lucky break of the day. That could go for Dakota Camper, somebody who very well needs some points this evening to just lock in and, I guess, stay on the inside of the chase. That could have been on him, but luckily for him, it's not. Race Control places blame on the 11 car, and Dakota Camper will be able to keep his position. That could be an early contender for the lucky performance, lucky break of the day.
I don't know. I don't know. I want to agree with you, but I feel like we've got a lot more racing left to run. We're going to see more incidents, and, well, can you really say it was a lucky break, even though it was realistically just a racing incident?
I think so. I think that's lucky, because, I mean, a lot of race controls wouldn't rule that way. I think they would see the passing car making contact and just rule it on him. But Rev here is very wise, and looks at things with a really solid viewpoint. I feel like he makes some solid rulings in the BRB racing league. But here we go. Green flag on the way, and we are racing once again. There we go. Green flag racing once again at IRP. Still super early here at IRP within stage number 1. And you see the field fan out through turns 1 and 2. Houseman working that inside as the tires wear off. That 78's coming to life.
Usually it takes a little bit for Mason Houseman to get a grip on the racetrack, and once he does, he is almost undefeatable. But Sutherland's been leading the way this entire time, so he's got that driver to contend with. We're nearing the end of the stage here, Andrew. The closer we get to the end of the stage, the more pressure that's mounting to hold on to these stage points. And I think Zachary Brandvold might be feeling a little bit of that pressure as Mason Houseman is right on his back bumper, goes defensive into turn 3, and Houseman's going to try to cross him up here. Can't seem to get there.
You know, if Brandvold is able to get these stage points that he's working with right now, he's free! Can he hang on? Yes, just barely does Brandvold hang on to the race car. Never mind, he's in the wall hard, and he's going to fall back and lose all those stage points he was looking at having.
Oh, no. But I said, Andrew, the pressure, it gets to people sometimes. You just got to roll with it. Deal with how the punches get thrown at you, and sometimes you crack. It happens.
And this car is just so tough to handle here. It really is a beast. It just gets away from you in a hurry. It snaps around quickly. But here we go. Dakota Camper working on Johnny Wood Jr. This is the battle for third. This 3 car is surging.
I think Dakota Camper might have. I think we went over this last week. He said there was nobody listening, but he might have listened to what you were talking about last week and responded, and is now starting to really show that he is here to play. The man is now up to 4th. He's working on Johnny Wood Jr. He's bringing Scott Fritz with him. Things are shaking up and shaking around. Heck, you've got Evan Patinko in the top 10 now as well. Drivers that need to have good points days to get themselves locked into the chase.
This is that cut line around the top 10 for stage points. Evan Patinko moves in to grab himself one here. Carl Pooler wants to grab one. He works from 11th spot. He works down to the inside of the 81 car and will try and make a pass on Evan Patinko. Brendan Maddox right in behind in 13th. Ray Walker there in 12th. They will swap spots. Maddox at the 12th. The Patinko loose. He loses 10th all the way back to about 20th or so.
Oh boy.
So Pooler now the last car in the top 10 for a stage point. That makes this battle that much more important between Walker and Maddox, who can get ahead and get up to that 71 car. Here comes Borball on the inside.
Almost 3 wide behind right there. Gray Walker rolling that top line. Brendan Maddox trying to make a comeback after that lap 1 incident in turn 3.
And don't look now, but Mason Houseman, we're going to look now actually, has run down the race leader of Isaiah Sutherland. They've got a lap car ahead, that's Nicholas Renner, after serving his pit penalty. And Sutherland has begun to be held up here. We could have a battle for the stage win on our hands.
Not too many laps to go here, Andrew. You see Renner trying to stay on the lead lap. And I don't know if Sutherland's going to cut him a break or if he's going to have to lap that 11 car. I think Renner should also think about the fact that he will be the first car lap down. He's already at the back, so when he tags the tail, he's not really going to be losing anything. You got to make sure you can cut those losses, but if you can stay on the lead lap, potentially gain some spots in the pit lane, it may work out for you. Who knows?
I think you've got a battle right here to stay on the lead lap. It's a difference. You're able to pit a lap sooner, but he will pull over and let the 24 car go by. I think he realized he was starting to hold Isaiah up. So that is now a moot point. And we'll see if Isaiah can drive back away from Mason Houseman. That gap already expanding back up to a half second. Are we going to be talking dirty air here, IRP? Because I think so.
Dirty air on a short track? Please. What is it from
so.
Full House? I've been rewatching Full House. Hold on. It's, let me see if I can do this right. You can't see it, but it's Cut It Out.
Oh, yeah. I know it. Well, that was 5 laps now, 4 laps to go in stage number 1. This is the battle for the race lead. It's calming down for now, so we'll sink back to that battle in the top 10. Brendan Maddox has gone by the 71 of Carl Pooler. That is for 10th position in 1 stage point. Everybody ahead of the 8 car would get 1 more stage point in ascending order. Pooler now in the wall. Here comes Borbell down low. Wolsifer, problems. He's around.
Yellow.
And this will end the stage.
That's a rough break.
So Isaiah Sutherland will take the stage win. Mason Houseman second. Johnny Wood Jr. third. Then Dakota Camper and Scott Fritz your top 5. Matthew Catania, Adam Buzzio, Jared Hughes, Zachary Brandvold, Brendan Maddox your top 10. Let's go back and see what happened here to Richard Wolsifer.
I think Nicholas Renner is feeling that one a little bit. Ooh, that's a big hit to the inside wall.
Here it is for that 56 car out of Georgia. You know, this is the Limitless Esports 200, or Beyond Limit. What is it? Beyond Limits 200? Something like that. We've got a graphic for it, and we played it earlier, but we'll take a look here in a moment as Carl Pooler will stay out. Several cars will stay out, but Brandvold leads the charge in.
Full field of cars in the pit lane. Mason Houseman's going to win the race off of pit road. Wonder what happened that Sutherland lost it, because he's going to lose a couple of spots here.
2-tire call.
Oh, no.
Track position. Brandvold will do the same. I believe Moyer did the same. And Sutherland takes 4. Maddox takes 2. Moyer's coming back in. He might have run straight through. I don't have a pit time for him.
I think Moyer just went straight through because he's back in the pit lane here.
Might have missed his box the first time around. Easy to do here with the curved pit lane there in turn 4. But several cars will stay out. In fact, 5. Carl Pooler, Cody Dorsey, Zachary King, Dustin Stallings, and Jason Bottoms all stay out. Dustin Stallings pitted in that first stage, but the rest of these cars have not. Let's see if we can dial up Isaiah Sutherland quickly. I know he was feeling a little bit under the weather, but we'll give it a shot here with driver 24 and talk to him quickly. Isaiah Sutherland, stage 1 winner. How are you feeling first off?
Well, I think I've got the flu today. I'm just dripping sweat, running a fever. It's kind of hard trying to stay focused right now, but so far so good. I know at a short track anything can happen, especially when people stay out like they did here. So trying to work through the headache and the sweat, runny nose, sore throat, and keep the car on the road underneath me, and maybe if I miss these wrecks that are about to happen, I can get back to the lead and control the restarts.
We'll let you get back to it. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you, buddy.
You can tell he's not having a very good night despite the stage win. Here we go. Back around to the Geico restart zone. Carl Pooler leading the way. He chose the bottom. How foolish, Carl. The top side's the way to go, but he gets the good restart and will jump straight up top. He must know something we don't.
Quick move there by Carl Pooler. He gets it done, rolls that top line, and cuts back down. He's going to lead him single file for the top two, that is. Here comes Mason Houseman in turn number 3.
Carl Pooler leading this race. 1 lap complete off the restart. Zachary King second, then Mason Houseman in third. Mason wants to go by both of these guys as quick as possible and get to that race lead. And he will do exactly that. He's got the nose ahead of Pooler into turn 3. Gets the full car ahead. Here comes King on the inside of the 71 car. And King's going to get up into Carl Pooler and spin to Zachary King into the inside wall.
Still rolling, no caution on the speedway. Oh, but Richard Wolsifer. No, that's Gray Walker. We got more cars around in the bottom going through the grass.
I saw Renner around.
I saw the blue and black and immediately thought that it was Wolsifer with the day he's been having.
But here's the spin for Zachary King. Got to the inside of Carl Pooler. And just got into the 71 car, goes for a slide. And then for Gray Walker. They were 4 wide up ahead. Walker just got free, backs into the wall. And that compounded for Nicholas Renner. He goes into the inside grass. So Pooler with a lap led there. Houseman to the race lead. And that's the incident for Nicholas Renner. He just goes sliding through the grass a little bit, but he'll be okay. I would imagine that caution will go on the 25 car of Walker, who's in the pit lane here, along with several others.
Word from race control now. Yep, penalty on the 25. Race control is deeming the pass-through for the 25.
Mason Houseman continues to lead under this caution flag. And Zach, I know it's early, but when we talk about NARL Driver of the Day conversations, honestly, Houseman and Sutherland are the only two that really come to mind so far.
I'm thinking Brandvold. He's been up here. Look at him, he's still sitting third. I think Sutherland and Houseman are good candidates for driver of the day. But I've had my eye on Zachary Brandvold just about all race. The man's got the speed to do it. He's just got to make sure he stays out of trouble.
He's going to have to do a little better job here in Stage 2 of staying out of trouble. He got free in Stage 1 and lost all those positions, and that showed a weakness in the armor there for the 55 car. So he's hoping to do a little bit better here in Stage number 2 as the field gets in order on the backstretch. And the iRacing.com safety car will peel off into turn number 3. We'll talk more about the driver of the day conversation here in a bit. For now, we work into the Geico restart zone and get this race back underway at IRP. One car in the wall, and it's Brandvold.
Could we get 3 wide here? Maddox stuck his nose in there. gets in line behind Carl Pooler. Brandville taps the wall again, gets a shot from Sutherland. We're 3 wide down the front straightaway, 3 wide into turn number 1. Maddox all the way on the bottom, and he might get clear. No, he doesn't.
Oh, he's going to get hooked.
Contact.
It's going to be a big crash down in turn 3. Brendan Maddox again, Dustin Stallings, Adam Buzzio.
Oh, it's a big
They're
one.
all just piling in. Guys. Big crash in turns 3 and 4.
I figured with the 3 wide there that Maddox was going to come up thinking he was clear off of Pooler, and that's what was going to start the chain reaction. But Pooler was trying to stay off of Brandvold and came down and hit Maddox in the first place.
Yeah, here's a look at it again. We saw it happen live. Oh, wow. Brandvold came off the wall ever so slightly and made contact with the 71. That shot the 71 down the racetrack. And you see the pile up after the fact. Guys just not checking up. This will be a good look.
Yeah, you saw Brandville tap the wall, come off, and run right into Carl Pooler, and there we go. Everybody filing in. Big thing I saw was Braxton Skinner trying to see if he could make his way through there, but it just turned into a parking lot after that. Looking at our race control tower, nobody has any meatball flags, so everybody should be able to keep rolling, but a lot of cars are going to take to the pit lane, I'm sure.
One more look at this crash. Sutherland got a piece. Johnny Wood Jr., Scott Fritz, they go for a spin. That was just about everybody from second on back. The one car that really got through was the one car that was ahead of it, and that was Mason Houseman. Everybody else either made a little bit of contact or came to a stop.
A couple of cars in the bonus brawler in that one as well. Saw Dakota Camper get a small piece of it. Now, the top 10 has really been shaken up. A couple of these drivers stayed out, didn't have a lot of damage after the incident. You see Hausman and Sutherland still your top 2. You've got Jared Hughes, Matthew Catania, Cody Dorsey's up there. And then following, you got Scott Fritz, Dakota Camper, Adam Buzzio, Gray Walker, and Dakota Bly. So everything is really starting to turn around for a few of these drivers that are now getting a chance to be up here. I don't know though, Andrew. I do not know how the rest of this race is going to go. It has been, can I say, a wreck fest? I know we had some green flag runs, but that was a parking lot.
We'll get an opportunity to go back at it here. Green flag on the way for Mason Houseman, Isaiah Sutherland, Matthew Catania, and Jared Hughes. Green flag back in the air, IRP. Sutherland to run on the inside. It was a big crossover there. He'll dive down in turn 3, but won't get alongside Mason Houseman. Now might try on corner exit. He's got something in that 24. He did win stage 1. He's got a real good short run car. Long run, I think Houseman might be a tick better, but these two I think are going to go at it for another classic here in the BRB Racing League.
And we see what happens when those two get together though. It can be great or it can cause
a little bit of havoc.
You can call it a little bit of havoc. You can call it a little bit of tempers flaring, but caution is out again on the speedway.
Another big one.
The car turned around. That's Renner again. Cole Lewis, Zachary King, Dakota Bly. Oh, no.
Renner off into the corner, just got free, spins around. Right around, baby, right around. Dakota Bly, it looks like, has no fault in any of this, doesn't get involved really, just came to a stop.
You know, I was going to say with Renner going a lap down back there and the caution coming out, getting him back on the lead lap, that we could nominate him for Lucky Performance, Lucky Break of the Day. But he's just getting it handed to him now. Oh my goodness. Can't seem to catch a break for that 11 car. Loops it right around right there. And then Zachary King and Cole Lewis. I feel like Cole Lewis was just trying to go around the outside, potentially there, and they just ended up making contact.
Here's a look back at it from King's perspective. Cole Lewis, the car ahead. Lewis got on the brakes hard, and King just wasn't expecting it.
Got to be a little bit more heads up.
Well, in fairness, I think he was staggered in a way that he probably couldn't see. Here's the driver's POV. I mean, you got a car... that's a tough one.
I feel like you can see Renner out of the left side, but as the spin continues, Renner falls behind Cole Lewis, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to see. Oh. So, race control just came over the radio for these drivers and stated that there will be no penalty for what just happened in that incident. They're deeming it a bit of a racing incident there. The thing that I said about was really the kind of thing that you were getting on when it came to that parking lot incident. Is race control is telling these drivers, gotta avoid the ARCA braking. Can't be running into these drivers. If you see someone slowing up or you see someone spinning in front of you, go around, find a way to mitigate the contact between other drivers. Just don't be running into the back of them.
As these guys double up, they'll be coming back around to the green flag, this time by Mason Houseman, Isaiah Sutherland, Matthew Catania, Jared Hughes. A very similar restart to the restart prior. Cody Dorsey's up here in the top 6. Dakota Camper 7th. Scott Fritz is up here. Should be a fun one. Into the Geico restart zone once more. Green flag. Back in the air. I know Isaiah Sutherland is a Jeff Gordon fan, but he clearly got his restart skills from somewhere else, Zach. He has been dominant on these restarts.
Had to bring up the restarts.
Oh, yeah, man. I had to. I knew that would get you right in the soft spot there. But he has been really good on these restarts, seriously. Jokes aside, he has been solid so far, and that might be the difference maker. He said in his interview he wanted to get back to the lead and get control of this race again, and that could be the difference maker. One around, Zachary King. Caution.
Well, he'll hold on to the lead now with the caution being out.
Jason Bottom's going to get into the 51 car.
Gave him a little love tap, got squirrely, and around she went.
Bottom's in the 87 back here. Had just been passed up. He was running on the inside. This is a whole lap prior. Stallings go by on the outside. He's going for the BRB bonus brawl. This Beyond Limits 200 is going beyond some limits that I didn't think would be going beyond. With contact there and just sends the 51 for a slide.
I don't know. I think the 51 just kind of came down there.
Well, let's see. Maybe a hair. Maybe a close one for race control.
Well, apparently the penalty is going on the 51 car. He will take the pass-through penalty on the restart.
Well, as these drivers pace around, it'll be a lucky dog for Zachary Brandvold.
That's not something I was expecting.
He is way down the order in 26th of 27 cars. But he'll get back on the lead lap. While we wait on the restart, we'll take a look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. Next up, tomorrow night, it's the SimRap Market Series at Homestead Miami Speedway. That'll be race number 2 of their playoffs. So they're a few races ahead of where we're at. They're already in their championship battle. Last week at Gateway, it was a surprise winner. Daniel Wiles with victory lane. And that shook things up a whole bunch. Going to be a very fun battle in the points from here on out in that SimRap Market Series. 2 surprise winners lately at Richmond and Gateway, and I think we'll continue that trend at Miami tomorrow. Then Thursday, it's a mystery race. Zach, do you want to take a guess at where the Sarah Pierce Fleet Service Super Series is going?
Hickory.
Nope, already did that.
I had to stick with the running gag. Always guessing Hickory. Well, we've been to
Stafford, Hickory, Rockingham, and Myrtle Beach.
Take a swing out of left field here. South Boston.
We'll see. Time will tell. Tuesday then, for the BRB Racing League, it's the cutoff race for the Chase. We go to Michigan. But for now, Geico Restart Zone is coming up one more time. Isaiah Sutherland back in control of the field. Green flag on the way, and there it is. We are racing once again at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Matthew Catania lifts and cuts a break for the 78 car there. Nearly gets into him down in turn 3. This is a battle for second.
Side by side off of 4. Catania gets it over Fritz. That's going to bring Jared Hughes back into the mix right on the back bumper of that 48. Dakota Camper right behind them. He's side by side with Cody Dorsey and Adam Buzzio looking to try and make some passes here. He's got Johnny Wood Jr. right behind him. Then Justin Stallings completes your top 10. The only side-by-side battle in the top 10 is between Dorsey and Camper. And it looks like Camper's going to power off the corner, get it clear. Dorsey falls in line. Now Buzzio takes a look down to the inside going into turn number 1. Sutherland goes purple once again.
Lap 82 complete of 200. Watching Cody Dorsey and Adam Buzzio, a bit of a battle behind here. Jason Bottoms on the inside. Ooh, Nicholas Renner trying to go by. This will be a 3 wide, maybe.
Stallings tagged the wall there a little bit. That's what checked up that top line. Renner tags the wall now going into the corner. He's going to ride it. Gets off. And cautions out on the speedway. Once again, got a spinner behind. Oh, that's Braxton Skinner. Richard Wolsifer again.
They were battling deep in the field right behind the 2 of Stephen Borbell and the 8 of Brendan Maddox, so this was for about 19th position. Wolsifer on the inside, Skinner on the outside, and Wolsifer just missed the corner. Up the racetrack he goes. Each go for a slide.
A couple of cars making it by, all tagging the wall a little bit. But not exactly worse for wear, all things considered. I'll tell you though, Andrew, Richard Wolsifer, this is going to be a night to forget for him.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a struggle this evening. From the contact with Brendan Maddox there on the first caution of the night on lap 1. To a spin a little bit later, and now a spin here with Braxton Skinner. You know what, Zach? That's his 3rd incident.
Second, actually. Second that he has caused, that is. So...
No, that's his 3rd because it's self-spin.
Oh, well, race control didn't exactly penalize him for that. But
so
they did...
I have kind of gotten the vibe that we're being a little bit less penalty happy on the self-spins. This is a difficult combo. And I think with the amount of self-spins, it seems like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like race control is being a little bit more lax with them.
You can say that, but you can also say that they're not exactly being relaxed because race control deemed the 56 at fault. That was the second incident that he had been called for. That's what I was trying to get at there. Second incident he'd been called for on the night. So that is a disqualification on the 56, and he has actually parked that car, taken it to the garage, and he is done.
The Wolsifer out of this race, and let's take a look at how that squares up with this battle at the chase line. This is going to bring him down right to it. I mean, this is going to be very, very close for him going into Michigan next week. Here we go, back around to the restart. Looking for the Geico restart zone here on lap 88. It'll become lap 89 of 200. And the green flag is back out at Indianapolis Raceway Park. One lap complete from the restart. Battle for third, Scott Fritz, Matthew Catania, teammates.
Fritz gets the advantage. Able to get single file off of turn 2. Almost at turn 3 there. So what happens when you come to these tracks that are so similar at each end of the racetrack. You get confused with it a little bit. Now,
what did I say?
As this race... Say again.
What did I say?
I don't know what you said. I just said that I almost said turn 3, and they are coming off of turn 2.
Okay. I was reading the message and got a little bit confused there. Well, we carry on. 10 laps to go in stage 2, now 9. Isaiah Sutherland, Mason Houseman, Scott Fritz, your top 3. That battle at the back end of the top 10 caps off with Cody Dorsey. Nicholas Reiner, the first car out of the top 10.
You know, while we're focusing on the top 10, Andrew, I just had a bit of a thought here. You made a comment about it earlier. Isaiah Sutherland has a really, really good short run car. Oh, I say that. Look at Johnny Wood Jr. He's going around. No caution. Did he save it? He's in the grass. He's rolling.
He'll carry on. No caution.
Big incident there for Johnny Wood Jr. He's been relatively mistake-free. He's got caught up in a few different things. We look now at Carl Buehler. He's running in front of Stephen Bormel, who's now down to the inside of that 71 car. Carl Buehler is one guy that really needs to make sure he has a good night, and that has not been going too well for him. Eric Jensen right behind him on the top line. He's sitting 15th right now, Andrew, but when you got guys in front of you that are getting stage points that are also fighting to get into the chase, it makes your night a little bit more difficult.
Coming up on 5 laps to go in stage 1. Isaiah Sutherland leading the way by a healthy margin over Mason Houseman. Scott Fritz runs 3rd. Matthew Catania runs 4th. These two have been very impressive, and this is a dirt track kind of race, right? I mean, the car handles like a, I don't even know how to describe it. I couldn't even begin.
Slidey, big horsepower dirt car.
Sure. It handles like something else for sure. It's a very difficult car to drive. It demands the most of you. You've got to be up on the wheel, and that sounds like dirt racing to me. So these two are excelling right now, and I'm not surprised as Jason Bottom's got a problem. He spins on the front stretch, no caution. will carry on. He runs now 24th. Three laps to go in the second stage, rather. Coming right up on halfway. Stallings and Renner battle for the final stage point. Stallings has got it. Renner wants it. Cody Dorsey's moved up into 9th. This is a really solid run for the 88 car.
That it is. Dorsey having a good night. A couple of drivers that are having a good night. I would want to look at Scott Fritz and Matthew Catania. They're doing a good job. And I wanted to make this dissertation a little bit ago before we saw Johnny Wood Jr. spin around, but you said Sutherland's got a great short run car, not a great long run car to take the white flag on the stage. You got to think what Mason Houseman's going through, because he's had the car to contend to get up there and get the stage win, but the cautions just keep coming out for him.
Yeah, if we had a long run, I think this race would shape up a little bit differently, but it's working so far for Isaiah Sutherland. 2 stage wins on the night. Sutherland sweeps the stages, IRP.
Houseman, Fritz, Catania, and Hughes, your top 5 for the stage. 5 more drivers behind them that'll be getting stage points. That's going to be looking at Buzzio, Camper, Walker, Dorsey, and Stallings. And thinking about the points, Andrew, Camper's getting stage points. That's going to increase his gap to the cut line. He's having a good night. He's just got to keep it up.
You know who else is, though? Scott Fritz. I think he got stage points in stage 1. He gets some more here. Fritz is going to eat into that gap. That's exactly what he needs to do.
Pit stops underway. We see a couple of 2-tire calls, Andrew, like we did on the last stage, or you think everyone's just going to go for broke and go for 4?
I think you have to go for 4 at this halfway point in the race. I don't think we see any 2-tire calls. You don't know what we're going to get from here, and I think you can go from here on fuel.
Yeah, but Houseman took 2 tires on the last one, didn't he? And he was rolling fast laps to keep up with Sutherland.
Yeah, but if you take 2 here, that's putting left sides potentially on for the rest of the race that have been on the race car all race long. So I think you've got to get 4 tires here.
2 for Houseman.
Wow. Well, you know what? Maybe he was watching that 1998 NASCAR Xfinity Series race between Dr. Jerry Punch and why can't I think of his name? Chad Little, thank you. There we go. Thank you, Brain, for catching up. Between Jerry Punch and Chad Little, there was some conversation about the truck race that happened the night prior. So this is now talking about the 1998 truck race IRP. One of the top finishers in that race left the left sides on the car all race long, about 200 laps of racing. That's a long time at IRP to have left sides on the race car, but if it's been done in a truck race back in 1998, we have the technology now in 2025 to maybe do it here. So maybe that's the call for Mason Houseman. He will get a bunch of positions here, and we'll be talking to him. We'll maybe ask him about that strategy.
Well, the other thing is, too, is what a lot of people need to consider, and there are those out there that don't exactly know why we're making such a big deal out of this. So when it comes to tires, the right sides are going to take the front of the blow. And they get more wear. Left sides don't usually get a lot of wear. So if you keep rolling with these left sides, it could potentially help your race a little bit.
Let's bring in stage 2, second place driver Mason Houseman. He didn't quite win the stage, but Mason, if we get some green flag racing, do you feel like you got something for Isaiah?
Yeah, I got a lot of long run speed, but Isaiah's got a really fast short run speed car, and I'm just trying to maintain it as where I'm at now. Taking 2, both of these. Oh, we just got delayed green, so I can slow down a little bit. With these caution laps, it's really hard for me to race them like how I want to, but I think I got something for him now, hopefully. I took 2 tires again, so we'll see how it all plays out.
Do you keep these left sides on all race long?
I mean, mine are pretty well maintained. I mean, my right sides there were the same as my left sides, so I think the left sides are fine because they're not in as much heat as the rights, so I think it's a good strategy to get spots.
Something to talk about. It happened in the 1998 truck race here. A driver that finished up front kept their left sides on all race. I'm going to keep referencing that race. It's just so much fun to do. But Mason, best of luck here in Stage 3.
Thank you, guys.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if he opts to keep those tires on all night long. It might work out. Back around to the ICO restart zone, Nicholas Renner and Zachary King will stay out and bring us back to the green flag. Cautions are almost insured. They've got more chances for fuel along the way. Green flag is back out. Houseman drives right down underneath Renner. Two Toyotas battling for the race lead. One on old tires, one on two tires. Zachary King runs in third. Stallings in fourth. And he's going to check up.
That outside line showing its power. Renner hanging tough. He's going to tag the wall, though. I think Houseman should, yes, he does, get clear for the race lead. Seeing those two tires at work, Andrew. Like I was trying to say, those left sides, they don't really take a lot of blows when it comes to racing. I mean, as long as you keep them in a good condition, they're going to be good for probably the entirety of this race.
What's fun here is Stallings also took two, and I don't know what he took in the past, so he could have taken four earlier. Otherwise, he might have the same strategy as his teammate Mason Houseman. But regardless, that zero car is making those two tires work for him so far on this restart. Nearly had Sutherland. Ends up getting passed up now, but Sutherland is just moving forward on this short run. He is so good on the short run.
That he is. Up in front of Zachary King now. He's going to get clear of the 51. Sights set on the 78. Right in front of him. He's got about half a second back. You see Catania, oh my goodness. He is rolling that bottom line as well. Right underneath Nicholas Renner. We're seeing those tires at work, Andrew. Renner's going backwards. The top line is the fast line, but not when you're on old tires.
Stallings on the inside,
Hughes
one around.
Crash.
Crash.
Fritz, John Hewitt Jr., Cody Dorsey, Brendan Maddox comes to a stop down on the bottom.
Scott Fritz got a big piece of this. He was looking so good this evening. Here we go, down into turn one. Jared Hughes just backs the car into the corner, got free. Camper gets into Fritz, Wood into Hughes. Brandville gets a big piece. Robert Moyer ran in the back of those guys.
Looks like Jared Hughes is going to be the one deemed at fault for this incident. He's going to get the pass-through penalty. And you know what, Andrew? I have a nomination for the lucky performance, the lucky break of the day, and it's going to go to Nicholas Renner again. Because if he didn't hit the wall here, look at that. He got a small piece of it, but he could have gotten to a little bit more of an incident there with Hughes if he didn't tack the wall.
Not a bad call. I don't disagree, really, with that nomination. We'll watch it here from the top down.
Side by side with Catania. Here comes Hughes into the mix. Right here, that's where he hits the wall. That's where Hughes starts going around. And if he hadn't hit the wall to get a little bit of a boost there, could have ran into the back of Hughes. Oh, voice crack there.
Even Borbell had a problem behind these guys. He was racing with Cody Dorsey. He went around all on his own, so two next-level racing drivers spinning on the same lap in the same corner.
See Scott Fritz around right there. You saw Brendan Maddox come to a stop to get through everything. We're past the halfway point, Andrew. Got any picks for driver of the day?
So far, it's just the top two for me. I don't think anybody else has been consistently up front like them. Obviously, we've got to come up with four drivers, but so far, for me, it's the top two.
So can I assume those are your two picks then?
Well, we're not making them just yet. We'll wait a little bit longer just in case anything changes. Maybe Dustin Stallings comes up and has a big run. We'll wait a little bit longer, keep the fans in suspense.
The Chaos Bringer is trying to sprinkle in a little bit of chaos. Of his own, that is.
We'll have 85 laps to go this time by at the Geico restart zone. Waiting on the green flag from Barney the Flagman, and we are racing once again at IRP. Three wide off the corner for at least a moment there. Matthew Catania on the inside of Isaiah Sutherland. Sutherland working down the racetrack. Catania's down there. We stay green. Oh, Sutherland to the wall.
This is about the first time that that 24 car has lucked out all day on the restart. He's going to get passed up by Catania. Zachary King coming into the mix now. He's up into the top 5. This is one of the drivers that is below the cut line. Needs to have a good night, especially with guys in front of him getting stage points. We ride on board with Isaiah Sutherland, and he's chasing down Catania. Lap car up ahead could start playing a factor, I believe.
It's Jared Hughes.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Problems actually for Jared Hughes, I think. He was just sideways in the backstretch. I thought we were going to have a bigger moment, but he hangs on to the race car. Sutherland and Catania make contact.
Muscling his way through. Here comes Zachary King and Dakota Camper.
Zachary King coming to life right when he needs to. Would have been a good night for him if he got those stage points, but a finish wouldn't be bad. Camper on the inside, 3 wide. King in the middle. Camper hooks the inside like a mastermind. Where did that come from?
Gotta get aggressive. Elbows out.
One around.
Oh, Jason Bottoms.
Caution. Just got free out of turn 2, went for a slide. Noses it there into the inside wall, right where Richard Wolsifer did so many laps ago. The full send racing driver having a bit of a rough night.
Thankfully he didn't send it full send into the wall. Puns.
Yeah, maybe not his most favorite time for a pun there.
Trying to get better with my puns, Andrew. You could at least give me a little bit of a reprieve there for a second.
No, it wasn't bad. He probably doesn't want to hear it though.
I'm sure. A couple of cars in the pit lane though. I'm sure Jared Hughes is happy to see the caution come out. Cole Lewis as well. They were about to go laps down there. See Brandvold back in the pit lane. Man, I feel like I cursed the man. He was having such a great night, and now he's, well, not exactly having a great night anymore.
Zachary Brandvold in the pit lane. Driver out of Florida. And he'll come back off the pit lane here in just a second. There he goes. Mason Hausman continues on with this race lead under caution. Let's take a look back at the standings to get a reminder of the playoff picture, the chase picture. Scott Fritz trying to get in. Zachary King trying to get in. Jamie Pord not here. Evan Matinko having a rough night. He had a solid night going for a little while and then ran into some trouble. Carl Poolers had a bit of a rough one. Zachary Brandvold, a very rough day. All in all, Zach, I don't think much is going to change aside from Richard Wolsifer being a lot closer to that cut line.
You're running out of time too, Andrew. I mean, things are really starting to heat up. Wolsifer's probably going to walk into next week and he's going to have to go all out.
It's going to be, I think, between Wolsifer and Fritz for that last spot. Unless something changes here. But Fritz has been good tonight. I think he can get back up here right now, running in the 10th position under this caution flag.
Imagine if he wins the race, though. Imagine the points conundrum we'll have.
That's a big.
If any of these drivers below the cut line win the race.
That's a big conversation for right now when he's running 10th under caution. We'll see. I think he's got a car that can do it, but that's a long shot right now when he's in the situation he's in after that crash he was in a little while ago. 76 laps to go, this time by Geico restart zone on the way, and we are racing once again, IRP. Stallings leaning on Sutherland into turn 3 there. A little bit of door banging, a little bit more door banging.
They're getting a little handsy there on the back straightaway, and Sutherland's going to be the one who prevails. You saw Stallings push Hausman into the corner, give him the lead there on the start. Now Isaiah Sutherland down to the inside of the 78 car, gets clear. Back to racing for the lead. These two.
Hausman shuts the door that time in 3 and 4. Catania now up into 3rd spot. He's free off the corner. Here comes Sutherland back to the inside. No door able to be shut there, and that 24 car works the very inside line. One around, it's Camper.
That's a self-spin there. We're seeing a lot of self-spins towards the end of this race. That's not what he needed. He's been having a good night. And to be perfectly honest, Andrew, I was thinking about making him one of my picks for driver of the day.
That's valid. He was having a good day until that. Racing with Dustin Stallings there. A little bit of contact. Ooh, that might come back.
Maybe it wasn't a self-spin.
Does he hold his line? Does Stallings come down?
Oh, Stallings came down.
That's going to be on the 0, I think. Whole bunch of cars coming to the pit lane. Now, these drivers have plenty of change sets tonight, so that's not a concern.
5 change sets for 200 laps.
Plenty of tires.
We've only seen a couple of these drivers use 2 of them. I mean, Hausman's only taken right side, so he's still got 5 lefts and 3 rights. Sutherland has 3 of everything. I think a few of these drivers still have at least 3 to 2 sets left. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, in large part, most of these drivers have only pitted twice or 3 times. A few drivers have pitted 4 times, maybe even 5, but for the most part, as far as the leaders go, I mean, Sutherland, Hausman, Sutherland, Catania, all have pitted twice, along with Buzzio in the 5 and Dorsey in the 88.
See, I like this, though. I like having extra sets in case we have a green-white checkered. Then again, if you're expecting to be a little bit further down the running order when it comes to a green-white checkered at this track, that might not exactly be your biggest concern of getting fresh tires on the car.
I don't know if I even want fresh tires in a green-white checkered scenario unless they're really old. I might want some slightly broken-in, warmed-up tires. These cold tires have been a pain for these guys tonight. We've seen on short runs, these guys get real free and make mistakes quickly. One more look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV. Next up, tomorrow night, we go to Homestead Miami Speedway with the Simrap Market Series, February the 19th. That's race number 2 of the playoffs. Make sure to tune in and see who's able to go to Victory Lane tomorrow night, 7:45 Eastern. Back around to the Geico restart zone. Here we go. Once again, green flag is out at IRP. Hausman, Sutherland, they do battle. Here comes Catania. Stallings to the pit lane. Catania down there racing for the lead.
By side. Catania has to find a way to move forward, because if he gets stuck down there for too long, Sutherland's just going to go around him. Big time loose right there, Andrew. Gets it squared away. Sutherland back to the bottom. He seems to like it down there. He's rolling it pretty well.
Carl Pooler runs in fourth. Maybe a good night shaping up for him. Sutherland right on that back bumper of Mason Houseman. Look at how close he gets. Gets back to the power just a hair earlier.
Caution. Caution on the speedway, Andrew.
One around, it's Renner.
Not again.
He's racing with Cody Dorsey and company. So just around the top 10. Stephen Borbell right behind. Eric Jensen out ahead. And something's going to happen here on the front stretch. Jensen up top. Here comes Renner on the inside, and he just gets free.
Yeah, another self-spin, and race control already said that there was going to be no penalty, but it looks like Renner had just decided that he was having enough for tonight.
Some problems there for the 11.
Sam Dyer gets the lucky dog here, or excuse me, the free pass. Well, Andrew, we're almost 3/4 of the way through this race. I'm going to ask you again, any other picks for driver of the day? Maybe?
Saving it for a little bit later, we're going to talk to a driver real quick. It's going to be Zach Brandvold. Somebody who has been run through the ringer this evening. Maybe a little bit surprised to be talking to a Zach. We've seen you go from high to low, back to high, back to low. What's going on for you this evening?
Just getting caught up in wrecks. I'm doing my best to try and work my way through, but unfortunately I got caught up in a few and have had to get some damage repaired.
Now, we have both been enamored by your speed. You've had some good speed this evening, been able to run up in the front. What's it going to take to get the 55 back up there?
Honestly, probably some more wrecks that I can avoid. It's really hard to pass in the dirty air, the cars in front of you, but I'm going to try my best. I think I got a good shot.
Well, best of luck to you with the choose and everything else here on this restart. Hopefully we're talking to you at the end of the race.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's Zach Brandvold running down in the 16th position right now. We've talked about him a lot tonight. And if he can get back up there, maybe he's one to consider for driver of the day. He has been up and down and all around. But here we go. Coming up on 40 laps to go. It'll be 41. No, not 41. 61 this time by. Coming up on 140 complete here shortly.
Okay, I'm bad at math too.
Well, this job involves a lot of math, apparently. They didn't tell me that when I got involved, but here we go. Green flag back in the air, IRP. Adam Buzzio making moves. He's up to fourth. Here comes Sutherland on the inside, gonna nose ahead of Houseman. Houseman gets the run off the corner. Catania works to the inside of Sutherland now.
Catania has been up there trying to contend for this win for these last few laps. Now there's contact. Scott Fritz, Carl Pooler. They're going to sort it out, though, get single file. So all the way back to Zachary King, we are single file racing. Side by side behind them, though, Johnny Wood Jr. and Cody Dorsey. They're running real close to each other. A little bit of contact off the corner, but they keep it rolling. But up front, Catania taking another look to the inside of Isaiah Sutherland.
Zach King, Cody Dorsey there racing in the background, but up front, our eyes are on these two. Contact between Sutherland and Houseman. He just got to the left rear there and just put a dent in that Air Force Reserve sticker. Here he comes, a run off the corner again for Sutherland. Still working on that 78 car. A shot there. Another shot. Here he comes on the inside.
Covers it off. Sutherland sends it hard. Forces Houseman up the track. That's going to shake him loose, and Sutherland's going to take the lead away. Now here comes Catania to take the second place spot.
I think there was contact there for the race lead. The short track
Just
Tuesday night. We can see some tempers flare. What a round, Pooler.
Straight away.
He'll be missed by the entire field.
Lucky break there for the 71.
Maybe. Was racing here with Scott Fritz. Was able to clear the 48 car and continue racing on his own. This was for 5th position. And he just gets free. Fritz gets into him, but that's all in the 71 car. Oh, and it broke the right front, I think.
Oh, no. Look at that right front, Andrew.
That's the opposite of what he needed, and that is day done for Carl Pooler.
Can't confirm. That's a meatball flag for the 71. Oh. Okay, Carl Pooler is disqualified.
Too many incidents, perhaps.
Yes, sir, you are correct.
And well, to the Jason Bottoms fan out there, it's not quite the lucky dog. It's the lucky break of the day, brought to you by Lucky Performance. Proud partner of Pitstop TV. A little bit different. Lucky dog, of course, you get that lap back. Let's talk about driver of the day nominees. Let's go ahead and get it done. We'll finally do it here, Zach. I'll let you go first.
Just over 50 to go. Well, my picks for driver of the day were running up front. Yeah, they're a little bit further down the running order, still working on recovery drives. So I think for my first pick, I'm going to go with Matthew Catania. Just because he has really come to life here at the later end of the race. He's been working really hard to try and take the lead away from these guys. And he's one of these drivers that could really use a win right now. So I got to go with him for my first pick.
He runs in third. That's a really solid pick. Let me get the pole working here. I'm going to make it easy. I'm going to go for Mason Houseman.
Well, you've made it very clear about your picks, Andrew, I'll say. I think for my second pick, though, I don't know. It's a tough one, but just because he's been up here for a little while as well, I'm going to take a swing out of left field, go with Adam Buzzio.
Fair enough. My other pick will be Isaiah Sutherland. We'll get the graphics off the screen here and get ready to go back green flag racing, but that poll will be up here shortly. It's the top four, more or less. Let's see what we can do on this restart into the Geico restart zone. Looking for the green flag one more time. 51 laps to go at IRP. Green flag back in the air. One lap complete off the restart, and Sutherland finally fights his way to the lead.
Took the lead on the restart, was able to benefit from that caution, and a restart on the top line, 3/4 down, a quarter of the race left to go, Andrew. And this top three is nose to tail, rolling through turn number 4. You see Scott Fritz. Oh, Catania! No!
Problems for Matthew Catania.
I gotta stop making driver of the day picks.
Was doing so well, and I think the driver of the day pick is still valid. But a problem here, he just got free. Drove down the racetrack a little bit too far. I'm surprised that was a caution, but brings out the yellow nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that was a yellow. He didn't even come to a full stop.
Isaiah Sutherland fights to the race lead. Mason Houseman second. Scott Fritz third. He's had a few lucky breaks go his way and get him back up front.
A few. The man has been avoiding wrecks left and right. He's been able to really build off of all of that. Not to mention, BRB bonus brawl too. He's one of the BRB bonus brawl drivers. And I don't know, actually I don't think he's even in, no, actually he is still in contention for it. He still has a mathematical chance to win the BRB bonus brawl, but I don't know here, Andrew. You told me earlier that yes, these guys are out here for the BRB bonus brawl as well, but the bigger prize that they're all chasing is getting into the chase.
Yeah, the bonus brawl would be nice for all these guys, but with Borbell having that kind of advantage coming in, I think the bigger focus has to be on the championship for these guys right now. We can take a look at the point standings here coming into tonight. Things mostly decided in the top 12, about 7 cars locked in, 7 drivers that is. Maddox, I think he'll lock in tonight. He's been running well, so he should be safe after this evening. He runs 14th currently. I know he's been having some trouble. He got run into in the first caution. He's been trying to survive. But as long as he gets enough points to clear himself from about 60 points to the cut line, he should be okay. Garrett Hughes has had a rough night, although he runs 9th now. Richard Wolsifer, we know, is going to drop. Matthew Catania was looking like maybe he was going to go for a win. He's going to have to do it from the rear now. And Dakota Camper has been all over. It's hard to keep track of him, but he runs 13th.
Yeah, we talked about Scott Fritz potentially being able to win this race. I know I brought it up earlier on. You said he was in 10th off that restart back there. The man runs 3rd now, Andrew. It's like I said, I'm going to ask the question one more time real quick before we go green. What would happen if that man won this race?
It would change a lot, that's for sure. We'd get a whole lot closer at the cut line. Here we go. Geico restart zone on the way for these drivers. Inside of 50 to go. Green flag back in the air at IRP. Houseman looks to the inside. Fritz on the outside. Dorsey there. Johnny Wood Jr.'s back up here. One around. Zachary King.
Another spin off of turn 4.
It's been a hot spot lately.
Calamity corner.
Behind Camper, Moyer, and Maddox alongside Stallings.
3 wide in front
and
right there.
Stallings just gets him. I don't think that's on either driver. I think they each kind of moved into each other.
Well, that's up to race control to decide whether or not either of them are getting a penalty.
Slow it down here.
correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't Stallings already has an incident on his day, if I'm not mistaken?
He does. He had to pay that pass through a little while ago.
But depending on...
That's a close one.
Andrew.
King comes in for service. And so we continue on. We'll have less than 40 to go this next restart. Next up for these guys, we've been talking about it a lot this evening, Michigan. 125 laps out there next week. From one of the biggest racetracks on the schedule, Daytona at 2.5 miles, to this .686 mile little short track in Indianapolis, to Michigan, the 2-miler next week. It'll be a lot of fun. This whole big switch. Right before Daytona, we had Darlington, a 1.3 mile speedway. Pocono, the 2.5 mile triangle before that. Been a very fun string of races. And it all comes down to Michigan next week, rather. I wish it was tomorrow.
Tomorrow's the Simrat Market Series.
Right, at Miami.
Oh, so that's where the confusion was there. 2 races at Miami. Well, that's a fun little thing right there. I'll tell you, Andrew, going into the chase for these guys, they're taking a track from just about every single discipline. You got an intermediate track. Yeah, you can consider St. Louis an intermediate track. Then you go to a road course. Then you've got a super speedway. Then you've got a short track, and you're rolling right back to an intermediate track. I mean, I don't want to say that we're going to see the
Hold on, you just call Rockingham a short track?
Yes.
No, that's a mile. It's over a mile, technically.
Okay, and Phoenix is a mile, but they all call it a short track.
No,
and we run the short track
intermediate
package there.
I would definitely not call Rockingham a short track, but that conversation can be had when we get there. Green flag on the way. Sutherland, Houseman, Wood, Fritz, your top 4. Then Buzzio and Dorsey, green flag, back in the air at IRP. A little bit of contact between these two. Houseman's going to have it.
Oh, but these two are putting on a show. Sutherland back to the bottom. That's where he's been liking to be. He's going to roll up next to that 78 car. Throw it in there off of turn number 1. Maybe make a little contact here. I saw a little move. Contact off the corner. And I'm sure Scott Fritz is sitting back there saying, wreck. Please wreck.
No, because he'll be in it.
Oh, he's going to try to miss it, I'll tell you. And with how these guys are running, Andrew, Sutherland and Houseman, as they make contact again, I got to compare how these two have been running to Eska, Martin Truex Jr., and Kyle Busch. What, 2016, 2017, when they were running super hard and got into each other a lot during the season? Came to a point at Indianapolis.
I was thinking Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, beating on each other. Darrell Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt. Ricky Craven, Kurt Busch. Oh, contact there. 24-48. Sutherland puts Fritz in the wall.
He's not holding back, Andrew. He knows he can go get it. He does not want to get held up. Now Johnny Wood Jr. comes up for 3rd.
Well, part of it is these guys are getting lower and lower in the top lane, and he's trying to use the bottom, so he's got to go lower and lower, and he can only go so low. I mean, they're running out of racing room at this point. Everybody going down the racetrack, trying to find grip. The top side maybe getting too hot, getting too rubbered in. And look how low they are.
Might as well put Sutherland on the apron below that yellow line. Get down really onto the flat for these guys. Almost gets to it there. Oh, I thought he was going to get to the quarter panel on Mason Houseman. He's thrown it into the corner. He was below the yellow line there, put his left sides down there. Hausman knows that if he pitches that 24 down there, he's not going to be able to get the run off the corner. So this is all defensive driving out of the 78 at this point.
I think he's taking those couple of doors in stride and saying, all right, I'm going to make it as hard as I can to make you pass. It's going to be difficult. It's not going to be as easy as putting me in the fence. I mean, these two have gone at it week after week. Go back to Nashville. They doored each other there. They've exchanged information more than once this season. Let me just put it that way.
Nashville was a little bit of a tempers flaring boiling point, I'll say. You say exchange information. I'm sure they're well acquainted with their insurance companies then.
30 laps to go the last time by the flag stand. It's winding down here at IRP.
Running out of laps, that's for sure.
Been a rough and tumble short track slobber knocker.
Slobber knocker, that's one I haven't heard in a long time.
You haven't heard it since the summer. Got to shout out somebody who has really done a good job this evening. Cody Dorsey. Maybe should have gotten a nod for driver of the day honors. He has put together a really exciting run so far, running 5th place for Full Send Racing. This is the best we've seen any of their cars do, and I don't mean that as an insult. I mean, this is just, he is running really well tonight. He has got this place figured out. I'm impressed. He has got speed in that 88 car.
You know, that was just floating through my head not too long ago. See here, Adam Buzzio taking a look to the inside. He's trying to fight his way back up there into the top 5. Look at Matthew Catania. He has fought his way back up as well after that self-spin. He's working on trying to get back up to that top 3, show that he can still run with them, be up there to compete. Oh, a little bit of contact off the wall. Cody Dorsey almost spun Adam Buzzio there. They keep it straight, they keep it rolling.
Dorsey in the wall, uses it to his advantage. Oh, he's getting free though. That car is breaking loose.
Ooh, Catania,
whoa! Hangs on to it, but only just. Here comes Stallings on the inside. Catania gets the wall and exit.
That's going to cost him a spot. It's going to cost him a lot of time as well. Gets back rolling, crosses over on the 0 Stallings, but he's not close enough to be there for the pass. Jared Hughes, Dakota Camper, they're fighting for the top 10 right now. Stephen Borbell right in front of them. We're looking at locking up the BRB bonus brawl. So we're seeing the drivers that we have seen up front come back into the fold. Start running back up here in the top 10. Look there, you see Zachary Brandvold. He's coming back up there with the speed he has. Brendan Maddox is trying to get back up there as well. Out in front, though, it's Mason Hausman, and he has actually worked out a bit of a gap here, Andrew, over Isaiah Sutherland.
It's looking like a race win on the way, maybe for that 78 car, unless we can get another caution.
You better knock on wood for that one.
Oh, no. I'm the chaos bringer. You know it.
Oh, Lord.
Hausman leading the way by about 6/10. Call it 7 through the corner. Sutherland sits back in second. Johnny Wood Jr. in third. Wouldn't you know it, it's the big 3 of this series this season, all up front when it counts the most. Been a crazy, crazy day here at IRP, but you can't deny these 3.
3 winningest drivers on the season. Johnny Wood Jr. has 2 wins this season, doesn't he? I know he got a win recently at Darlington. No, that was his first win of the season.
Yeah, that was his 1 win.
I was going to say, he has 2 wins there for a second.
Just the 1. Buzzio rim riding. Here comes Stallings on the move. Stallings has got some newer tires. In fact, about the newest on the racetrack. He could be a threat here as these laps wear on. I mean, these guys were not expecting this kind of run. I don't think anybody was. By the way, NARL Driver of the Day vote brought to you by North American Racing League. Currently led by Isaiah Sutherland, but there is plenty of time to change that. Those of you watching on YouTube, go ahead and vote now as Fritz lets Stallings go. This 0 car could be a threat. Caution!
Caution!
Dorsey!
Oh no.
That car is in shambles.
Spun around down the back straightaway. You see that nose pushed in right in the center.
Brandvold gets a big piece of this one. Catania and Dorsey door at each other. Dorsey just got free on exit. And Borbell was there. Up the racetrack. Brandvold zigged when he should have zagged.
Oh, no.
Jensen even went for a spin.
Shades of Ryan Preece in the Daytona 500. Pop.
Oh, and that broke the right front.
Oh, no.
At least bent it a bunch. This run comes to a close, and drivers stay out. I'm surprised by this, opting for track position. That's bold at this point in the race.
Hey, you were the one that made that comment earlier on when I was talking about cautions, green, white checkers, come in, take tires, got the tire sets for it. You're the one who said, stay out, get the track position. You can't afford to lose it. And realistically speaking, with how the cautions have played out over the course of the night, you would be a fool to pit now.
I don't know. I like Borbell here. Getting these tires on now. You're talking about 82 lap old right sides for Houseman, for Sutherland, for Buzzio, for Catania.
But
that's a long time.
You've only got 15 laps to get to the front.
That is, even if it's all cautions, that's at least 3 restarts. That's a bunch of time to get some spots.
Well, yes, I can see that, but if we have another long green flag run like we just did, you're running out of time for yourself, really.
We'll see.
See Hausman choose the bottom. He's got Stallings behind him. So the Maverick Motorsport bunch gonna try to dethrone Sutherland here, keep him holding in that second spot. Got that Racers for Christ Chevrolet up on top. He's got no help. So you've got teammates on the bottom, Sutherland up top by himself.
A thank you to the partners of the series, the Buttkicker, Ascendance Trucks, Idealis, and Sundance Pizza. 14 laps to go, this time by. Here we go. Green flag on the way, and it's back out here at IRP. We're racing again. I like the 0 here. Dustin Stallings gets right to second place.
Muscle through. Isaiah Sutherland kept him back there. It's a Maverick Motorsports 1-2 now. They're almost 3 wide behind. Catania's trying to move forward. Caution.
Caution's out for Jason Bottoms. Evan Patinko on the inside there. Cody Dorsey down there.
3 wide for a moment if Dorsey was going to the pit lane.
Jason Bottoms in the middle of all this. Gets tagged by Robert Moyer Jr. and goes for a spin.
Didn't touch the wall though. No damage.
He about went around right there off the nose of Cole Lewis. Jason's just trying to put a run together this evening. Poor guy.
Did you say that Jason came down? You think Moyer came up there?
We'll let race control decide, but I really like this 0 car. Now, where did Borbell get to? Only to 11th on that restart. You might have me, Zach. I think you might have a point.
That's
Not
what
enough
I'm saying.
time. I think we needed a couple more takers for it to work. There just weren't enough drivers that opted to go down the pit lane. It's just a long time to be on those old tires.
I mean, really, Andrew, I just reiterated your point. So if anything, you had a point. You were talking about it earlier on in the race. Just saying.
Palin checking in, cheering on driver 81. That's Evan Patinko. He was in the center of all of that when that happened. Doing an all right job for himself. I don't think it's going to put him in the chase this season, unfortunately. I think he's going to miss out this time, but something to build on for season number 4 later this year. Isaiah Sutherland still leading that driver of the day vote. You've got your options. Matthew Catania, Mason Houseman, Adam Buzzio, Isaiah Sutherland. You've got to make your vote. If you're watching on YouTube, you've still got time to vote for somebody right now. Leading the way, driver 24, although he is back to 3rd place.
You say back to 3rd place like he's really gone very far backwards tonight, Andrew.
Well, there's the choose. He'll restart 2nd. But we saw how well the bottom worked out for Houseman and for Stallings last time.
A very similar choose to the last restart, Andrew. Houseman, Sutherland, Stallings, Johnny Wood Jr., Scott Fritz, Adam Buzzio, per his nickname, I guess, Dale Coda Camper, and Matthew Catania, who was outside. Here we go.
Restart on the way. Might be the last one. We'll see. Green flag back in the air at IRP.
Stallings!
Got way free there. Slips up big time. I liked him for the win, but not anymore.
He tried to do the same thing he did on the previous restart and muscle past Isaiah Sutherland. More contact. Didn't exactly help him. They're 3 wide behind Catania. Brendan Maddox to the inside. He's trying to get back up inside the top 5. Spinning, wrecking into turn number 1.
Big crash. Brandvold, King, and more.
That's a big impact for a lot of drivers.
I think we're going to use the overtime graphic tonight. Watch Sam Dyer in the 35 car. And Zachary King in the 51. King dives low and just runs smack in the back of the 35. I don't know what that's all about. Oh,
man,
and Brandvold. Oh, my
widening.
gosh.
Josh Anderson gets a piece of that as well.
Brandvold was racing back there with Cole Lewis. Here's a look at it for the 55 car.
Pretty open around where they're running. There's the wrecking in front, and Brandvold breaks loose when he's trying to miss it. Moyer gets a piece. Josh Anderson gets a piece. And that is going to put us into overtime. There you see the back bumper of the 51 car.
I don't think this is going to put us into overtime yet. We've got 5 laps to go. I don't think we're going to use overtime just yet. It's going to be close.
And it looks like we need to get some confirmation there for a second, but that is the second incident for Zachary King. That's a DQ for the 51.
That's huge for the points.
That will throw him all the way to the back. And
well, DQ means these points won't count.
It will. And one thing that just slipped my mind, Andrew, Jamie Plord is not here tonight.
Yeah, I said that earlier. He's unfortunately not with us this evening. Not able to make it.
Up. I hate to interject there for a second, but this is shaping up to be all the right makings to help Evan Patinko build into getting into the chase. You know, this is the same thing that happened to him last season. He was in position to get into the chase. He was down the running order, and he had miracles as the season went on that put him in.
Well, do you see where he's running right now?
No.
21st.
Oof.
So I hate to take that train off the rails, but I'm not sure about that one, unfortunately. This will be a natural green-white checkered. So this will effectively work as a lucky performance overtime restart. 2 laps, a green lap, a white lap. Now this will be an extra overtime, essentially.
A natural attempt.
Yes, there you see the rules there on the bottom side of your screen, bottom right. Forget about that for now. Let's just see what happens on this restart into the Geico restart zone. An opportunity here for Mason Houseman to get this race under wraps. Green flag back in the air at IRP. Johnny Wood Jr. all over the back end of the 78 through turns 1 and 2. How's this going to sort out? Do we get back to the white flag?
Side by side is what they want to see. Or that's what Mason Houseman wants to see. Johnny Wood Jr. gets clear. White flag in the air. Presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. It's going to be 1 to go. They're sliding. Justin Stallings is going around.
Can Johnny Wood Jr. get there in turns 3 and 4? Can he pull a bump and run? Houseman defends. Johnny Wood on the outside. But it's going to be all Mason Houseman to the stripe for another win this season.
A heck of a run there for Mason Houseman. He gets it done. Johnny Wood Jr. second. Sutherland, Maddox, Scott Fritz ends up 5th. Stephen Borbell only got up to 9th there at the end, Andrew. Looks like those tires were not the move for that 2 car.
Wow. A 4th win on the season finally. The Mason Houseman does an extra lap here just for good measures. And I think he'll be burning it down.
Heck of a run for that 78 car. 2 tires was the way to go.
Left those left sides on all race long. Talked about it, about that truck race from 98.
A reminder, ladies and gentlemen, you have until the end of when we read the results to get your votes in for Driver of the Day. NARL Driver of the Day vote is still live. Sutherland still leads, but it's close between these drivers right now. You can change that if you just go out and vote now.
Race winner last in the Driver of the Day vote. That should pump up his numbers a little bit, I would think. And there you see the celebration for the 78. We'll go through your unofficial race results in a moment. What a special moment for the Maverick Motorsports Bunch. In the final BRB bonus brawl race, the Beyond Limits 200 belongs to former Limitless Esports driver Mason Houseman.
One heck of a run, Andrew. That's all I got to say. The Maverick Motorsports doing a 3-wide salute. The only driver not here, Zachary Maddox. He's up on the spotter stand for that 8 car.
And you know what? Through it all, Brendan Maddox finished 4th. What a day for him. Dustin Stallings falls back to 17th with that last lap. You know, let's go back and get a look at what happened on that last lap. Got to go quite a ways back here, so bear with us. Here we go, coming up to the restart. So what happens to that zero car? We got through the first lap clean. I thought Johnny Wood Jr. was going to move the 78. I really did. He might have tried.
Personally, I thought too. That's what it looked like there for a moment, but I think once they got side by side for second is when it all just kind of fell away.
Mason Houseman pulling away with it, but Dustin Stallings right there in the zero. Gets loose, goes for a slide. Catches it, continues on, but ends up finishing in 17th spot. Back behind Jason Bottoms. Oh, and Patinko for a big crash at the end. Let's go back through the last lap for Johnny Wood Jr. as well from the onboard. I really thought he was going to try and get to the bumper of the 78 car, but Mason defended it well. Johnny Wood never had a chance. Let's go back and take a look at your unofficial race results when it's all said and done. Out front, none other than Mason Houseman, now a 4-time winner on the season. Second place, Johnny Wood Jr. Third place, Isaiah Sutherland, all within a half second out front. Brendan Maddox, Scott Fritz, your top 5. That's a big night for each of those drivers. Maddox should lock in. Fritz should move closer to that cut line. Catania just might lock into the playoffs with that one. Camper going to keep himself alive. Braxton Skinner, Stephen Borbell, Adam Buzzio, all with a top 10 finish. That's a big night for Braxton Skinner as well.
Yeah, huge nights for a lot of drivers. It's been a relatively good night for most of them, but there's a lot that could have a better day. Jared Hughes,
and
Gray Walker.
Before you read this next bit, I actually want to come back to Stephen Borbell. We've just been informed he will win the BRB bonus brawl. He was in the top 10, so before we gloss over that, I wanted to make sure we talked about it. He does keep that bonus brawl within his grasp.
Got to be a good night then for Stephen Borbell. That's going to be good for him, honestly. He's going to get some money, I believe. But back to the results tab here. Jared Hughes ends up 11th, Gray Walker 12th, and Cody Dorsey in the 13th spot. Dakota Bly and Evan Patinko 14th and 15th on the night. Evan Patinko had a little bit of a wreck coming past the line, ended up with Jason Bottoms right there, but it didn't really affect their finishing position. So Jason Bottoms ends up 16th. Dustin Stallings, after that last lap spin right there, he ends up 17th on the night. Zachary Brandvold is able to keep that car on the racetrack, hang on for 18th. Robert Moyer Jr. ends up 19th, and Cole Lewis, he ends up 20th on the night. So a lot of these guys could have had a lot better of a night, especially Zachary Brandvold with the speed that he showed.
Finishing 21st, you'll find Sam Dyer. Eric Jensen back there in 22nd. Anderson in 23rd. Renner in 24th. Wolsifer, early exit there in 25th. And then 3 drivers, all who get credited for 0 laps this evening. 2 out of a DQ. Those are King and Pooler. Younger did not make the start this evening. We'll talk with each of our top 3, and of course, that will begin with Mason Houseman, who goes to victory lane this evening. We talked to you after stage 2, and I asked if you would keep those left sides on all race, and it looks like you did, and that wins you this one, it looks like. But how did you hang on all those laps with those left side tires?
You know, it was just kind of what I practiced. I knew those left sides didn't really wear out very much. After the first stage, I'm pretty sure they were only at 98% all around, and then it was down to like 97. And then I actually didn't check what they were at the very end. I should have for you. But you know, if you got those tires cold enough, you could conserve it. We had enough caution laps where I could conserve them. So the right side tire strategy was definitely the way to go if you want to get that track position, and it ended up working out for me, so I'm excited about it.
And this nets you your 4th win on the season in that new paint scheme and getting closer and closer to the chase. Momentum at the right time, is that what I'm hearing for Car 78?
I'd like to have the momentum. I think Michigan's our next week's track. You know, I like to keep the momentum going. I'm just trying to get not track champion. I'm trying to get the regular season championship so I can get those bonus points coming out of it into the chase. But I like to keep the momentum going. Even if I can get a top 5 at that track, I'll be happy. Just keeping the momentum going, keeping those top 5 rolling out, and then hopefully by that time I'm talking to you next week, maybe.
We'll see if you're able to grab another win on the season next week at Michigan. That would be 5 of 13 races. We'll see. I'm going to hold you to it. We'll see what we can do for race number 13 for you next week. But congratulations, 87 laps led, a big night for you here at IRP, and a race win to get with it. Hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Perfect. Thank you, boys. And I want to thank you guys. You know, I know it was a long night tonight. I want to thank you guys for keeping it through and broadcasting us tonight. I want to thank Rev. I know he had a tough job up there in the race control booth. You know, it's never easy when you have all these cautions and you have to keep on dishing out penalties and having to disqualify people. And I want to thank all the admins. You know, this was probably a tough race to put on the track or on the schedule because they didn't know what it was going to be like. So I gave it to them. It was a good race when we actually had green flag laps, but it was tough throughout the night. I want to thank my teammates. You know, Dustin got a little bad incident there at the end. Tough for him, but Brendan came out P4. And obviously I want to thank Zach for giving us the call outs all night. And obviously I want to give a shout out to Isaiah and Johnny. You know, they raced me pretty clean all night. Johnny could have done me there at the end, and Isaiah could have wrecked me there a couple times. So I want to give a shout out to them. Yeah.
There you go. Mason Houseman started 3rd, but finishes 1st, even after a practice session. Remember, he wasn't on top of the session. Mason, you just keep doing it. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
I called him out. Wasn't too great in practice, but shows up for the race. What do you know? Just keeps doing it, Zach.
And he does. Mason Houseman continues to impress with Johnny Wood Jr. I think we really didn't expect to see the 75 in the 2nd spot at the end of the night. We expected it to be the 78 and the 24, but a happy surprise nonetheless, Johnny. You brought it home 2nd. You were able to get past Sutherland on the restart. We got to ask, because Andrew made a comment about it, were you trying to bump and around that 78 on the restart, get past Houseman, do what you can, or do you think it was all she wrote once you got next to Sutherland?
Yeah, I mean, I tried to give him a little bit of the bumper. He gave me a little bit of a brake check at the center, and it kind of like separated us. That's what we do. Pretty slick move, though. That's what we do in karting. But yeah, I tried to give him a little bit of a bump and run, but nothing too crazy because Rev was on race control pretty hot today with penalties. I didn't want to get sent to a rear with him, you know, if I cause him to spin and give me any end of line penalty or whatever. So just trying to move him a little bit, but not dump him. It didn't really work, but you know, hey, I got 2nd. But yeah, on that last final restart, I just tried to separate the two, the Stallings and the 78, from each other because I knew they would probably go at the same time and kind of pull away from me and Isaiah. I knew if I can get Isaiah hung on the outside and in front of Stallings, it would kind of hold him up maybe enough to where me and the 78 could kind of drive off, which kinda I think happened. I don't know what happened to Stallings there at the end. I don't know where he finished, but that's kind of what I was hoping, which kind of worked out. So finished 2nd.
Well, the right side of your car is a little banged up, I'll say. That means you were making moves rather than being in the way, so you did a good job of getting back up to the front. The big thing that we were talking about throughout the race, though, was the tire strategy. Do you think 4 tires over 2 were any more beneficial to your race overall, or do you think that you should have just stayed on 4 rather than maybe taking 2 tires throughout the rest of the race?
Yeah, I don't know. I talked to Isaiah and he said he took 4 somewhere at the end. I think third stage, and he said he wasn't shifting, and I was downshifting to pitch the car at the center, and then I would lay about 10 to 15%, of the gas pedal to let it roll off, center off, and I don't think he had the drive off. And then he said once he heard me shifting, he started shifting, and it kind of helped. So maybe that's what was going on with him. But the two tire strategy would kind of tighten the car up a little bit, and like I said, the downshifting at the center would pitch the car. Now, I was really burning tires. I mean, I had my wheel clocked at 45 degrees from center off, and I have a 315 steering ratio, so I was really digging on that wheel, but it ended up working out. So
Did able to bring it home in the second spot. Congratulations, Johnny. And Michigan's up next, so you got a good shot going into the chase, and congratulations.
yeah, appreciate it.
That's Johnny Wood Jr. there for the second spot, Andrew. And I gotta say, if two tires tightened up the car, maybe that's why Mason Housen was so fast on a loose setup.
That does tell a big piece of the story. Isaiah Sutherland ends up third place when it's all said and done, battling a bit of a sickness this evening, under the weather for sure. But we're glad you hung on through it, Isaiah, because a P3 is a very strong way to work on closing out this regular season. How did you hang on there?
Yeah, I'm so excited the races are still dripping in sweat, and I guess the medicine's wearing off, so it was a tough race tonight. Car was great first two stages. Caution came out, I forgot exactly when, but it was after the second stage. Might have been right before it. But Brendan and them spun out, and I just so happened to hit them with my right front tire. And so they told me my toe link was bent. It was 43 seconds. The car felt all right, but I shortly realized when we restarted, the car just did not turn like it did before with that damage. And I didn't want to sit in the pits for 43 seconds and lose all that track position, especially with all the cautions. Looking back, maybe I should have, but anyways, we stayed out and we had pretty good battles with Mason, and he got so bad that Mason started pulling away from me, and because of this right front damage, the car just wouldn't turn, and I started downshifting the third because I heard Johnny behind me do it, and that helped a little bit, and staying in third in the turns after all those restarts with like less than 10 to go definitely helped me out, but the damage really just kind of ruined my day there. So I'm super excited for a top three though. I'm glad to finish. Again, a few weeks ago we had a stretch where we just couldn't finish, getting in accidents. So even with the flu, maybe I just need to start racing sick like this. Maybe it's good luck. But I can't thank everyone enough in the league. I know in the practice race, this race was kind of sketchy, but it seemed like tonight, even though there were a lot of cautions, it seemed like everybody cleaned it up. It's a short, flat track, so cautions like that are just going to happen.
Well, you were out front a lot tonight, 102 laps led out of 200 that were completed, and that nets you the NARL Driver of the Day honors, so you are today's Driver of the Day, despite racing under the weather. Congratulations there. I think that sweetens up the third place even more for you. Hopefully you get some rest. We'll let you get to bed and sleep this one off, and hopefully you're doing better next week.
Man, I appreciate that. Have a huge shout out to the Driver of the Day thing. To be honest, I didn't really pay attention to it the past 2 weeks because I guess I've just been so brain scattered after the races. But that's awesome that I've done that. I think the past 2 weeks I got a lot of family, a lot of friends that tune in and watch. So thankful for those guys that do that every week. When there could be other things they could be doing, we're just thankful that they show up and show support. So thank you for the Driver of the Day again. Big shout out, of course, to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Big shout out to my team at Racers for Christ. They're all wonderful guys. Have a lot of fun talking with them and racing with them. Everyone in the league, like I said, they cleaned up their stuff tonight, even though there were a lot of cautions. Practice race was way worse. So big shout out to them. I think Johnny and Mason for racing clean there. Me and Mason had some good battles. Dustin and Johnny, so big shout out to them as well. We've locally, we've had a lot of flooding. Was kind of off topic. We had a lot of flooding in our area, Northwest Tennessee. So prayers go out to. I have some family that live in a place that got flooded and people lost houses. So prayers go out to them. Love them all. My Uncle Gary's the one that tunes in every week and watches me, and he almost lost his house a few days ago. So prayers for him. Shout out to you guys in the booth and all the fans that tune in. We totally appreciate it.
Well, glad to have you out here, and definitely wish the best to those affected by flooding. And I know there's snow headed through the same areas right now, and hopefully everybody stays safe. It's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, well, we appreciate that, buddy. I'll see you guys next week, all right?
That's Isaiah Sutherland with a P3 finish this evening. Thanks for talking to us, Isaiah. Feel better, and hopefully he's talking to us again soon with maybe a little bit less flu in his breath. That's we'll wish him the best, because Isaiah is definitely feeling it this evening, and just hopefully he's feeling better next week, Zach, from Michigan. And Michigan next week is going to be a wild time. A lot of point standings, conversations coming to a helm there. Going to be a lot of fun to talk about February 25th next week.
Yeah, I know what Sutherland's going through. Not to that extent, though. I've been fighting off a stomach virus today myself, so it seems to be going around for everybody at the moment. But I feel like Michigan's going to be a perfect cap-off to this regular season for these guys. And, you know, with the super speedway aspect that Michigan brings into play, not to mention the fact that even if it doesn't give off a super speedway-esque style, drivers can still be fast on their own there, and it can have qualities of an intermediate track. So, you know, perfect way to really bring an end to this regular season, and we're going to see a lot of drivers that are going to, for no other way to describe it, have elbows out trying to make sure that they can get in. Evan Batinko had a bad night coming to the end of that race. Dakota Camper had a great evening. Richard Wolsifer definitely did not have a good evening tonight, but guys like Scott Fritz, he was up there, and he was running, he was contending. That man has got some serious points rolling into next week.
Yeah, he's going to get a whole lot closer to that cut line. Might have something to say about Wolsifer making the chase next week in Michigan. We'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. Next up for us, we head out to Miami, Homestead Miami Speedway, for the SimRap Market Series. That's tomorrow night at 7:45 Eastern. Then Thursday, it's the final mystery race of 5 this season for the Sarah Super Series. Make sure to catch that February the 20th, this Thursday evening on at about 9:45 Eastern. And then next week, we head out to Michigan for the BRB Racing League's next outing. Gonna be a lot of fun. Make sure to catch that as the playoffs chase. I get them mixed up. In the SimRap Market Series, it's the playoffs. In the BRB Racing League, it's the chase. And I keep using them interchangeably. But it's the chase here in the BRB Racing League, and that's the chase cutoff race next week at Michigan. That'll do it for us, though, this evening, Zach. Where can we keep up with Pit Stop TV?
Oh, you can keep up with Pit Stop TV in plenty of places, and I'm sure they're on your screen. I don't remember them in any way. PitStopTV.com, Facebook.com/PitStopTV, Instagram.com/Pit_Stop_TV, Twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, YouTube.com/PitStopTV1, and X.com/PitStopTV_. But don't listen to me. I think I just rambled off a bunch of links to some really cool stuff that gives off some really cool racing. I just might be the sick in me, you know? I'm delirious.
Delirious. What a word there. Well, big thank you to those who help us out. The Buttkicker, Ascendance Trucks, Ideal Lease, and Sundance Pizza, as well as Whiplash SimCams, ATVO, CC's Business, Cody Williams Design, and Lucky Performance. Thanks for tuning in this evening. It's been a pleasure as always. This has been the Beyond Limits 200 IRP. Indianapolis Raceway Park never disappoints, and it certainly didn't this evening. We'll catch you all next time for race 13 of this BRB Buttkicker Cup Series in Michigan in a week's time. Until then, make sure to tune in tomorrow night for the Homestead Miami Speedway in the SimRap Market Series. Their playoffs are already happening. Make sure to catch it with us. Make sure to be there tomorrow. We'll see you then.